pretty much right after we did the show last week, the next day, came out that Josh Berry was not returning to the number 21 car. Obviously, he hasn't done that well in the 21 car this season after making the chase last season after winning at Vegas. His one Cup Series win still at the moment. So Josh Berry will not return to the Wood Brothers in that number 21 car. And the big rumor is, I think at this point it's pretty much confirmed because Bob Pockrass has really laid hints on it. There was hints on Door Bumper Clear this week. Freddie Kraft was like, you're really going to love the driver in the 21. So I think it's pretty obvious that most likely Jesse Love is driving the number 21 for the Wood Brothers next year in 2027. And my thoughts on it, I think the Wood Brothers and Penske are very smart if they end up getting Jesse Love. If they probably have already signed him, but if they end up getting Jesse Love to drive that 21 car, I think it's very smart on Penske and Wood Brothers' behalf to take in Jesse Love, because I think Jesse Love is a Sunday guy. I don't think he's as flashy as like a Connor Zilic or something like that, but Jesse Love is overall very smart in the race car, makes good moves. I think he's a very talented race car driver, has a lot of raw speed and stuff like that. I'd say he needs to not necessarily clean up his attitude, but we talked about it a couple weeks ago. I would like some better interviews out of him. I haven't hated his interviews because he is showing personality. I just want a little bit of different of a personality, a little more bold of the personality, a little less whiny of a personality. But that it is what it is. That doesn't really put a driver into the cockpit per se. But overall, I think it's a great move on Penske and Wood Brothers' behalf to put him in that number 21. But do I think it's a good move for Jesse Love? No. No, I don't. I don't think it's a good move for Jesse Love. I think Jesse Love should stay in the O'Reilly series if he has no other available rides. I think Jesse Love is capable of being not just a Sunday guy, but a Sunday guy that can compete for wins throughout his career. Maybe even at some point become a championship sort of contender. I'm not as sure about that as I am with like someone like Connor Zilic, for example, or maybe even Brent Cruz. I'm maybe not as sure about that as those two guys, but I still think Jesse Love has that sort of ceiling. He has that sort of potential. And we've seen how the 21 cars worked out for the last couple of drivers that have been in it. Matthew DiBenedetto, Matty D. I think Matty D ran really well in that 21 car. He didn't get a win. He did make the playoffs one year. Overall was pretty competitive, not as strong as the Penske cars, but overall was pretty competitive. He got let go. Josh Berry, I think I don't know what had happened last year with the 21 car, but the first half of last year, maybe a couple weeks before the playoffs started, things changed. But for the first half, roughly, of last season, I thought Josh Berry was right on par with his Penske teammates. He competed for a couple of different wins. I remember he was really strong at Phoenix before he ended up winning his race at Vegas. He had some strong races last year, and it looked like he was going to be competitive, at least somewhat competitive in the chase. But then a couple of weeks before the chase started, he just really fell off hard in performance, and he's yet to ever really pick it back up. He went from running top 10, top 15 every week to running 25th or worse every week. And that's how it's been since all this year, throughout the whole chase last year, throughout the second half of the season in general, was really struggling. So I don't know what changed over at Ford, what changed over at Penske to make that happen. It is a development team, so they get all the development people from Penske, whether it's the pit crew or the actual people in the shop. They're development sort of people. They're the fourth tier over at Penske, and it's pretty much a fourth Penske car for the most part. Wood Brothers don't do too much from the day-to-day, to my knowledge. They don't do really a lot from day-to-day. It's pretty much a fourth Penske car, I would say. And now Josh Berry is getting let go, and I think Josh Berry has shown a lot of potential that he can be. I think he is a Sunday guy. I think Josh Berry is a Sunday guy. I think he's very talented. Just hasn't worked out in this car this year, and that it doubles even this year. It's even worse this year than it was last year because I think Ford in general are struggling. Penske are struggling. Logano's had a bad year. Cindric's had a bad year. Blaney's been competitive, I would say, but even on Ryan Blaney sort of standards, I would say he hasn't had a great year. Tyler, what do you think about all this? Jesse Love looks like he might be taking over the number 21 car for 2027. Do you think it's a good move on Penske's part? Secondary question, do you think it's a good move on Jesse Love's part? And what do you think about Josh Berry and all this?
So, is it a good fit? For me, if you ask me if he fits the car, yes. I think he fits great for the branding that the Wood brothers go with all the sponsors they go with, all of that. He fits very well in that suit and tie, make sure everybody's doing everything right look, right? It also is a lead car. It can give you a Ryan Blaney effect, or it can give you a Josh Berry effect. It's really how you present yourself in it. Is it fair? No, because Ford sucks right now. I mean, Ford is absolutely trash, and it's the whole reason why I want Noah out of front row. So it's completely understandable on why people don't see it being a good move. But in a weird way, I think it might work out just because he fits that branding so well. He is a decent driver. Is he Connor Zilich? Is he Kyle Larson? Is he Ryan Blaney? In my opinion, no, but he might be. So we'll see where he goes from here. And I think it might work out for him. I feel horrible for Josh Berry. I don't think Josh was given enough time or good enough equipment to prove what he's worth, unfortunately. Um, and hopefully he lands somewhere decent. Hopefully maybe front row picks him up or something like that when they have the four open.
Yeah, I think that's probably my biggest issue with all this because I'm definitely a Josh Berry fan, a Josh Berry supporter. Him coming from the sim world, I'm always gonna be a big supporter of people that come from the sim world. Him coming from local short tracks, him being good friends with Dale Jr. I really like everything that he brings to the table as a personality. I think he's a very talented race car driver. Did a lot of junior motorsports when he was down in the O'Reilly series. And I think he's had some moments in the Cup Series, and I think he's a Sunday guy. I 120% think he's a Sunday guy. And I'm very worried that something might happen with him that's happened to Matthew DiBenedetto because Matty D hasn't really raced all year. I think he raced like one truck race this year or something like that. And Matty D is a very talented race car driver. I think Matty D should probably still be racing on Sundays personally. I think he's a very talented race car driver. And there's only so many rides though. There's only so many spots to land. There's only so many rides, and especially when you don't really bring any sponsorship to the table, and that's kind of how it is for Josh. Josh doesn't really bring any sponsorship to the table. Any sponsors that he's really had, it's been a lot of help from Junior or whatever race team he's a part of, and they'll bring the sponsorship to the table. Josh Berry just brings his wheel essentially. So I'm very worried that Barry probably won't be racing on Sundays next year. I'm worried that he might not race on Saturdays or even Fridays next year. It's definitely a concern for, and you have to keep in mind his age too, because Josh Berry ain't a spring chicken. Josh Berry's in his 30s, so he's not necessarily a young driver either. So he doesn't really check any boxes for race teams. I wouldn't go as far to say that Wood Brothers and Penske have screwed him over. I wouldn't quite go that far because at the end of the day, it is a business, and if you're not performing, you're not performing. So I get it. I understand the move. It's just, is it quite fair? There's an argument to be made, like you're saying with Ford. Ford are struggling, Penske are struggling, and he's struggling at an already struggling race team with the fourth tier of people. So it just sucks to be a Josh Berry fan. I really hope Josh Berry is able to figure something out for next year. I hope that he races full time in something competitive, even if that's in the O'Reilly series or Chuck series, because I am generally worried that this could be the end of Josh Berry in NASCAR, at least on a competitive full time basis. Like I think he can get a full time ride somewhere next year, but it probably might be with a pretty bad race team. I don't know. I don't know, especially with 3 years in the Cup Series, and he hasn't shown that much. He joined Stuart Haas right when they were closing down, when they were closing doors. And the first half of last season, I think he proved to me and he proved to a lot of other people that he is a Sunday guy. And right when Penske and Ford began to fall off in performance, he's never been able to gain that performance back. He's just never been able to get back to competing for top 10s, top 15s. He's competing for top 20s at best. And it just sucks to see being a Josh Berry fan and stuff. I really sucks to see. But Jesse Love, Jesse Love's a Sunday guy. You were just talking about how he might be a Ryan Blaney potentially. And I think his potential is a little bit more wishy washy compared to Connor Zilisch, Brent Cruz, Corey Heim, some of these really, we know that these guys are going to compete for championships, or at least we think they're going to compete for championships. When it comes to somebody like Jesse Love, we're not quite that sure, but we know we know that's the ceiling. We know that that's the ceiling. We're just not quite as sure about Love as we are about Zilich or Heim or any of these other guys. So I don't know if it's the right move on Jesse Love's part. And he could end up having the same season that Zilich is having right now, because Zilich is having a horrible season over at Trackhouse. That's not Zilich's fault at all. I know Zilich has been down on himself. That's not Zilich's fault at all. That's on Justin Marks. Justin Marks is to blame for that in Trackhouse, because they are just a struggling race team. Chastain got a top 10 finish this last week, so that's a miracle maybe. But let us know your thoughts in the comments. How do you feel about this? Josh Berry being essentially let go from Wood Brothers and Team Penske, and looks like he's going to get replaced by Jesse Love, who might be a rookie next season driving that number 21 Ford. Let us know your thoughts about Jesse Love, and is that a good decision for Jesse Love? And what do you think the future is for Josh Berry?